these people are unlikely to ever celebrate Christmas or other holidays again. Mass events will trigger panic attacks, and people of different nationalities will instill real fear. Relatives and friends of the 5 deceased and all the injured, whose number exceeded 200, have forever marked December 20th as a black day. That evening, a car at full speed crashed into a crowd at a Christmas market in Magdeburg. The driver of the death car was soon detained, a 50-year-old man from Saudi Arabia. He has refugee status in his homeland, allegedly threatened with death for leaving Islam. The man moved to Germany in 2006, was active on social media, writing about his hatred of Islam and revenge for what he claimed was Germany's attempt to Islamize Europe. As early as May 2024, he openly declared his criminal intentions under a post by the German Interior Minister. There were other reports of his plans, but no response followed.
It is quite clear that there are gaps in Germany's security protection levels that allowed this terrible attack to happen. We received warnings from Saudi Arabia as well as within Germany from people who knew him to the police that he was becoming quite strange. And we also had issues with physical barriers at the Christmas market.
Europe has learned nothing from its mistakes. The Magdeburg attack was another costly lesson for Germany, but far from the first.
Europe has learned nothing. We remove fences at borders, but set up concrete barriers, police and signs in front of Christmas markets.
Back in 2016, a similar tragedy occurred in Berlin. A terrorist in a truck with Polish plates drove into people at the Christmas market on Breitscheidplatz. 11 people died, more than 50 were injured. ISIS claimed responsibility for the attack. That massacre happened on December 19th. A day and 8 years later, death in Magdeburg. Perhaps a deranged psychiatrist wanted to draw attention to the problem of uncontrolled migration and all the resulting threats. But we are not investigators. Of course, one can argue for a long time about the causes, motives, and consequences. This act of sacrifice once again divided society and exacerbated the political crisis. The current authorities began accusing the right-wing forces, represented by the AfD, of using the tragedy for their own interests. They, of course, deny it and say the danger came to European homes by Brussels' will.
It's time to ask questions and demand answers. Who guarantees that Germany will provide protection to those persecuted, but stop at the border those who disregard our values? We want something to finally change in our country so we can live safely again, and never have to mourn with a mother who lost her son in such a senseless and cruel way.
If people are to be publicly condemned for the sincerity of their emotions and words, then alongside German rights, we can add the Hungarian Prime Minister. After the tragedy, he unequivocally stated that the attack in German Magdeburg is a consequence of the migration crisis in Western Europe.
These phenomena appeared in Europe only with the onset of the migration crisis. There is no doubt that there is a connection between the changing world, migration flows, and terrorist acts. But I see that there are still those who try to deny these connections. Hungary must learn from this.
To be fair, Europe has started to take action. They are tightening legislation, closing borders, deporting people back to their homelands. But all this is like shooting sparrows with a cannon. It works selectively. After all, the very enemy has long been deeply entrenched inside. And it's only a matter of time before another migrant decides that their principles are more important than people's lives.